8 News at 6 starts now.
It's a story you saw first here on 8 News, and tonight we have exclusive new details about the investigation into Governor McDonnell's former chef. Todd Schneider began working as the executive chef back in April 2010. His employment ended on March 5th of this year, but authorities won't say if he was fired or quit. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton has more on our top story.
I know that it's got to be illegal and it's not right.
This former Seasonings catering employee, who we're not identifying, says he quit after his boss, Todd Schneider, repeatedly charged the state for food Schneider used in his own company.
We would send someone to the mansion to pick it up and bring it back to the restaurant. It happened more than 10 times.
State police are investigating Schneider, who was the executive chef at the governor's mansion until March 5th. Numerous sources who won't speak on camera confirm what this former worker is saying.
I would call the purveyor. They would say, we can't give you the order because we are owed X amount of dollars. And Todd would say, get it shipped to the mansion. And the purveyor would say, we can't ship it to the mansion unless it's billed to the mansion. So then Todd would say, we'll tell him to bill it to the mansion.
The former employee says these pictures were taken at Seasonings a few months ago. You can clearly see the words Governor's Mansion printed on the box label. Months ago, court documents show Schneider was evicted from his Great Seasons restaurant in Chesterfield after the Belgrade Shopping Center sued him and won for failing to pay rent. In 2000, he was found guilty of embezzlement. The governor's office has confirmed Schneider did not have a background check before he was hired, something this worker had to have.
I mean, Todd's the one that told us, can you pass a background check? There were 2 other guys that could not. And he was like, well, you're not allowed to mention, you have to pass a background check.
Tonight at 11, hear much more on what this former employee says Todd Schneider did here at the governor's mansion. I'm Nate Eaton, 8 News.
To an 8 News exclusive. A local high schooler who died from an unusual disease lives on after donating his organs. And 8 News reporter Nate Eaton's now here with a twist for us in the story.
Yeah, well, and this is a story where the gift of life has literally brought together 2 strangers. But those strangers happen to live within feet of each other, and they learn about one another in an incredible way.
If we can't have our son, then I want him to help other people.
Tyler Davidson was the type of teenager every parent wants.
Everything he did well.
The Midlothian High School student played for the Richmond Kickers, spent time on his Xbox, and was loved by everyone.
He was just an amazing young man.
4 months ago, out of the blue, the healthy 15-year-old started having seizures.
Within the first 3 days, he had like 15 or 16.
Tyler was diagnosed with an unusual type of epilepsy.
It's very rare, less than 1% worldwide.
Within hours, he was in the hospital. Within days, he was in a coma. Within weeks, he was gone.
And they pretty much said that, he had some brain apathy, and he was not going to make it.
Tyler passed away February 25th. As his family gave his eulogy,
we got the call at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Alroy Henderson received one of his kidneys.
It was a lot to process, to know that this 15-year-old had died probably 2 hours before I got the call.
Alroy and his wife Carol had been waiting 3 years for the right match, and Tyler's was perfect.
Normally it takes 2 to 3 days for the kidney to respond, but by 5:30, Tyler's kidney had responded.
What the Hendersons didn't know is that Tyler lived right here at their own apartment complex, just 1 building away. It was the manager of the apartments that made the connection.
It gives me goosebumps every time we talk about it.
Christy Fisher knew both families and knew they each had challenges. A few days after Alroy's transplant, Carol stopped by the office.
The subject of the transplant came up, and Christy asked me, did I know the donor?
She mentioned that they knew it had come from a 15-year-old boy, and that was about all they knew.
Christy immediately thought of Tyler.
She gave me a call one day. She says, well, I'm not sure if I should tell you this, but I think I know who has one of Tyler's kidneys.
Ken was stunned, but after doing some research, confirmed Alroy did indeed have Tyler's kidney.
All we received was first name, the age, and what he did, for a living. So then I looked at, what I received from here and that, I'm like, this is exactly who it is.
A few weeks later, Ken and the Hendersons decided to meet.
Meeting him was just like overwhelming because you still had someone that lost someone.
Within a minute or so, it felt like we knew each other for the past 10 to 20 years.
As neighbors, but more importantly friends, Ken and the Davidsons now see each other a few times a week. It can be difficult.
Is there a moment where you think he should be here and I shouldn't?
A lot of times.
But they talk about Tyler,
There's no question in my mind that God was totally in control.
his life,
Thank you is not big enough.
and how he continues to live.
We'd rather have him back here, but it's nice to know that he's really helped some wonderful people.
And one, you know, Alroy has never been to a soccer game, but he tells his wife if he starts kicking the ball around the house, she can blame that on the kidney. And interestingly enough, the doctors told him to name the kidney. It's kind of have a personal attachment. Fittingly, he's calling it Tyler.
This story is really remarkable. How common is it generally across the board for organ recipients to meet the donor families?
Yeah, it's not very common at all, and if it does happen, you go through this outside agency, and it can take months, years, so a case like this is very unusual.
All right, really fantastic story. Thank you very much, Nate Eaton, for sharing that. Tell your friends. We'll keep an eye on both families involved in this one.
Definitely.
Thank you. Richmond City Council's in some hot water tonight with folks who say their rates for water and sewage are too high. 8 News reporter Nate Eaton has our top story.
If you live in the city of Richmond, the lowest amount of money you're going to pay per month for water is $49.40. Compare that to other spots in our area. In Henrico, $16.27 is the minimum fee. Chesterfield, $22.16. In D.C., only $3.86. And in Norfolk, the minimum fee is only $1. Well, now, irate citizens are demanding a change.
It's outrageous.
Armed with empty water bottles
The meter says 0 and I still get charged.
and big, bold signs.
It's a burden on the poor.
Nearly 50 people stand outside City Hall asking one big question.
Why is our rate $49.40?
Richmond charges one of the highest water and sewage minimum monthly rates in the Commonwealth. The city says it's to cover the cost of old pipes, canals, and the flood wall. These guys don't buy it.
You've got people who can least afford it, paying a basic fee of almost $50 a month.
My name is Charles Poole.
At tonight's City Council meeting, the Sierra Club presented this petition signed by over 1,300 people asking for a rate drop. At least one council member agrees.
It's way too high.
And these folks say rates better drop before things get worse.
What are we going to do? Hook hoses up to a neighbor's house and share one water utility?
In Richmond, Nate Eaton, 8 News.
He ran up to me and said, "Give me your pocketbook." And I mean, it just shocked me.
Madeline Hughes had no idea her life would change forever as she visited this Chesterfield hardware store Monday afternoon.
I was thinking I was scared.
As Madeline walked out of her car to return a weed eater, a man approached and tried to steal her purse.
He grabbed my left hand and slung me around like that, down where some cement was. And he had a knife. If he hadn't got the pocketbook, he'd have got me with that knife.
Madeline was rushed to VCU Medical Center with head and multiple other injuries.
My whole left hand was scratched up and just a mess of stabs and stuff.
After the attack, police say the suspect ran here behind the store and through this neighborhood. Tonight, investigators say there are no new leads in the case.
They found my pocketbook later. I don't think I had but between $3 and $8 in there.
Tonight, Madeline was released from the hospital and now she's resting at home. She hopes whoever did this is caught very soon.
You don't want to hear what I'd like to say to him. Being a Christian, I couldn't say it. I don't know. I don't know what I'd say to him.
Nate Eaton, 8 News.
After weeks of turmoil, today UVA's Board of Visitors made a stunning reversal and reinstated University President Teresa Sullivan.
The decision came late this afternoon. All right, news reporter Nate Eaton is just back from Charlottesville he is here now with the latest. Nate?
Christina, Governor McDonald told the Board of Visitors to resolve the issue today, and they did. Now Teresa Sullivan may be the most popular university president in the country. This afternoon, she was treated like a rock star after students, faculty, and others learned her job as head of the university is hers again.
Today, the Board of Visitors has voted to reinstate me as the president of the university.
A simple sentence that changes the history of UVA and ends weeks of turmoil on the Charlottesville campus.
There is no time for residual hostility toward anyone perceived to have been on the other side of recent disagreements. We can go forward with what is best for the university.
I'd like to call this special meeting of the Board of Visitors to order.
The announcement of Terry Sullivan's reinstatement came during a 20-minute Board of Visitors meeting where members admitted they were wrong in removing the university president.
There have been numerous comments about the process of the Board of Visitors that the Board of Visitors used in asking for and approving the resignation of President Sullivan. It is my opinion that everyone agrees that the process was flawed.
Sullivan entered the meeting with Board Rector Helen Dragas, the driving force behind the resignation.
I'd like to reiterate an apology to the UVA community. Again, let me state that we never wished nor intended to ignite such a reaction from a community of trust and honor that we love so dearly.
During the meeting, students and others waited outside the rotunda. Then, after every member of the board voted in favor of Sullivan's reinstatement, cheering and yelling.
I cannot tell you how humbled I am by your prayers, by the thousands of messages, and by your efforts on behalf of the university we all love.
Sullivan says she looks forward to working with the board, even Dragas.
Your relationship with Ms. Dragas?
We had, I think, a cordial meeting today, and we're resolved to make this work.
And if the university president has any doubts, there's a huge network of support to remind her.
Of course, students, faculty, parents, and many others are speaking out about the board's decision tonight. Many believe that Sullivan's replacement was necessary for UVA to move forward.
One of the only moments in my life where I have seen a group of intelligent, educated people agree on something. And I'm happy to be here.
We are very gratified. The board made a courageous decision, and I'm very happy. I think it's a great day for the University of Virginia.
And I am thrilled with what they have learned about democracy and being a good citizen, and about the power of people as a group to affect change.
God bless America.
Through music,
Land that I love.
and the spoken word, dozens gather at this sacred site.
To honor the people that died and the towers got destroyed. Keep it alive and support the people who were in 9/11.
Tonight's memorial service saw the largest crowd in the annual event's history. Many were here to meet Lieutenant Clarence Singleton.
It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
11 years ago today, the former New York firefighter was at the bottom of the North Tower when the World Trade Center collapsed.
It's a feeling of sadness and a sense of loss because I lost so many friends at the collapse of the towers.
Tonight's event wasn't only to remember those hurt or killed on 9/11, but also to pay tribute to those who are currently in law enforcement or serving in the armed forces.
We need to raise our children to respect people and what they do and what they do for our country.
That message was clear tonight, and many left vowing to never forget.
Life is short, no matter how long we live. And I think that we should learn to enjoy life and appreciate life.
America.
In Chesterfield, Nate Eaton.
Home, sweet home.
8 News.